Truth or Consequences Commission. Today is Wednesday, July 29th, 2026. It is now exactly 10 a.m. I call this meeting to order. Would you do roll call, please, Ms. Torres?
Honorable Ralph Epworth.
Present.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell. Here. Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Yep.
Honorable Chaz Glines.
Here.
And Honorable Serves absent.
Thank you. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance of the United States one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Quick reminder to Ingo and Chaz to just speak into your mic if you can, as much as possible, since YouTube hasn't been picking it up.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, all right. Have we had a chance to review the agenda? Yes, sir. Have any concerns, questions?
That I'd like to make the motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Make a motion. I'll second that motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Having none, we'll move on. First order of business is new business. Item C1, discussion action approval of engagement agreement for municipal advisory services with Bosque Advisory. I guess we have a guest.
We have a
video.
guest who join us via Teams.
Can you hear us?
Great.
Can you hear us? Do you have his number? Maybe we can. Call him.
The call has been forwarded.
Something in chat.
Giving us a phone number to call. Got it. Probably right.
Can you see us? Oh,
Yes, man, we can see you, we can hear you, but I don't think you can hear us. So
I can't. It shows your initials that you're signed on, but I can't hear you. So we'll just do it through the phone. Do you guys wanna? We can do it just through the
Yes.
cell phone, yeah.
Mayor's comfortable with that?
Yeah.
no, that's fine with us.
Or we could call in from the landline so that it
Do you want,
Louder.
do you want to?
Yeah, it might be better.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get it.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
It's plugged out right there.
Our technology is struggling these days.
Just leave them on there.
I'll put him towards tonight. Hi, we'll just call you through the cell phone.
Okay, yeah, it's fine.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, sorry for the struggle in, our technology this morning. On the phone, we have, Bosque Advisors LLC. They are our bonded, advisors for the general obligation bonds, and this would be a re-engagement contract with them. So I'll let, Mark and Nathan and the team present, this morning.
We're ready for you to present, Mark.
Hi. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
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 Okay. Well, thank you for allowing me to participate virtually. So what we do with our clients, as you know, is we come back every year to extend our contract for an additional year. And we do that just so that you all get a chance to, think about the service we provided to you and let us know if we need to improve. And we're happy to have that conversation. We're hopeful done a good job for the city. And so that's what's in front of you. I'll stop there. Happy to answer any questions for any.
Any questions, anyone?
Mayor Pro Tem, I would point out two points where we'll continue to use Bosque Advisors. We're currently in the process of finishing our final tranche of general obligation bonds. So that process has started. It needs to be completed by this year, by November. And then potentially we'd like to go back out at the municipal election next year and prepare a continuation of the 3 mil levy. Do some work on what we want to do with that. And so again, Bosque Advisors would be in our ability to understand the process and be able to present a clear and concise election agenda for the voters. So staff's recommendation is that we continue the relationship and approve the contract.
Okay, all right, thank you. Speaking for myself, Mark and company, thank you so much for being here almost every time that we want to talk with you. I appreciate you making the trip to see us and answering all our questions. I think you've done a solid job for us. Have heard nothing to the negative and in any regard. And I appreciate your services. And with that, I'll open up to any further questions. And if not, we'll make a motion.
I would like to make a motion to approve the engagement agreement and continuation of services and authorization of city manager to execute the agreement as presented.
Second that motion.
And Ms. Torres?
Honorable Rob Hetzler.
Aye.
Honorable Dustin Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable Joe Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable-
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mark.
Mayor.
Yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate the partnership.
all right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Let's move on to the reason we're here today. We'll go on to item D1, ordinances, resolution and zoning, discussion action. Resolution number 9, 2627, approval of the fourth quarter budget adjustments. Okay.
Good morning, everybody. So basically what we have, this is the final bar for the fourth quarter period. Did you want to call?
So again, would you just recap a few of these, probably the most important ones, just so that we can kind of get some stuff on the record?
Yeah, let me just go down this one.
Okay,
So on the top line, it's, for the increase for this, based on the streets department where we needed to offset some costs and the utility for the end of fiscal year payments. And then the us was, we needed an increase for that, for the fees because a little bit more came in than we expected. So that was based on that increase. Library had to be adjusted because it went slightly over, so we had to cover the budget shortfall, but there was enough money in that grant to do that. So it's an adjustment for the overage. And then up with the COB, we're increasing that as well because they receive more donations, so that's from the donation line item. And then on the impact fees, budget to cover that. So offset, so we increased it for the final coverage of that item. And then the revenue and expense side of the GO bonds is what the item number 7 is. And that's just the final numbers for the fourth quarter of the fiscal year. And then number 8 is the interest that it was received on the GO bonds. And then jet fuel, there was not enough to finish at the end of the year, so we needed to increase that for the airport. Pay off the loan payment, that's on number 10, and number 11, there was an error, so that was a correction.
okay. In regards to the jet fuel, when we order extra jet fuel, is that because we're busier out there than we had anticipated?
I'll refer to Tracy on that.
Yeah, we've had a lot of traffic, a lot of military and business traffic out in that area.
And that money we get back when we sell it, right?
Correct. So when we sell it, it goes into the World Fuel account.
Right.
And so there's a fund at the World Fuel account offsets the sale and the receipt of it. And so if at any point in time we have a shortage, then we can get with city management and finance, take a look at, what our big balance is at World Fuel and bring it back into airport funds.
Okay. Do you have any questions concerning it? The adjustments? No.
No, just a comment. I was reading the GF and I didn't know what it stood for, and I kept saying free in my head. And I'm like, that's gonna be one. So it's general fund, though. I could figure that out. All right, I will make a motion to approve resolution number 9/26/27, approval of the fourth quarter budget adjustment as presented.
A second. Doris?
Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hopper. Honorable Todd Glenn. Honorable Ralph Esper.
Aye. Item D2, discussion action resolution number 10, 26/27, approval of the fourth quarter budget. Ms. Holguin?
So this is the final numbers that have been ending fourth quarter for the fiscal year. You want me to? I don't know if there's any questions or anything you'd like me to clarify or make it for you.
I think just in general, discuss how we ended up with the budget. I mean, how did we fare? Are we above or below? Are we even? Just again, for the record.
Well, based on our trends, I think we're pretty consistent on our last year's budget. To raise this. we didn't really have to do too many adjustments, like historically where there was, multiple bars to fix budgets. We didn't dip too far down. We didn't go into the red and we stayed in the black, so, for it to be a first year budget, technically from my perspective, I was pretty happy with where our end result was. And then we ended up we just have to make sure when you close your final quarter budgets, you have to make sure there's no negatives and all your lines are clean. So as part of the process, ending, you have to have clean budget and you have to have no negatives because DFA will accept it. So when we're looking at budgets and we're seeing where things need to be corrected, that's kind of how you close that open the new fiscal year in the same concept. Because you close clean and then you start clean, or else DFA would not accept it. So we send this fourth quarter budget close out, and then the bars and everything goes to DFA, and then they review it and accept it. And then the next step is to go into the new budget, accept it, send it back with questions or concerns. And then this year they did a little bit different, but that's for the next section, but that's kind of how the process goes.
Okay, yeah, I know how the process. Are there any surprises this year? Anything that was anomalous or that changed or that you were surprised to see?
Not from last fiscal year.
Eddie?
Yeah, I didn't see anything off the mark.
Yeah, how was GRT?
Like, it's kind of, the GRT was steady, but then it seemed like getting closer to the end of fiscal year because of like the Win Loves and the new business and the finances coming in on that aspect. They're climbing, so that'll be more recognized going into this new fiscal year.
Commissioners, any questions? Comments? Okay. Having no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to approve, resolution number 11/26/27, approval of final budget.
I'll
Second that motion.
Honorable Inga Hopper.
Aye.
Honorable Charles Glenn.
Aye.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable Rob Heschler.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number D3, discussion action resolution number 11/26/27, approval of the final budget. Ms. Holguin?
I would like to, on the last one, I think you said resolution 11. It was 10. I just wanted.
Oh, I did say.
Make that part of
Okay,
the-
this- For clarification, it was 10. That
Okay. Sorry. Sorry. It's okay. Thank you.
okay, we're moving on to item D3.
This is the final budget. We worked really hard on it because there are some changes. We try to, when the interim budget comes in, the final budget comes in, we tend to do a bar to increase the overages in prior fiscal year. I was trying to catch as many as I could to increase the lines from the open fields that carried over. I might have missed a few, but I'm trying to get the significant ones like the streets sweeper and the sanitations, Freightliner, like those bigger items to include it in the final budget, so I don't have to include them in the bar later on. And then if you look at we have the cap, what's the screen right now. These are our final numbers to move forward with our submittal to the state. There's some adjustments that we had to make to make sure it'll be acceptable, and then we're probably gonna, now that we have a steadier hold on the departments and the budgeting and the GL numbers, our next, and the projects we're we're right there as well for the getting them all up to par. Our next, gonna be tackling, and the finance department is to make sure we review every single dollar. That's the goal, to make sure that there's complete accuracy with every single dollar in every single budget, to make sure that there's no issues that may arise in the future. And then if you look at the final budget, there was a couple of changes that included adjustments in the lodger's tax and but there was not that many significant changes. It was just some corrections and increases, and then I don't know if Gary wants to add anything to this discussion.
Sure. Oh, I'm kind of curious about employee services, para and deductions, things like that. Do they go up substantially, or how much did they go up?
Now, there was an increase because the state did an RFP for like the medical and dental aspect of items. And we had a moment where from, January to June, we had some coverage based on what the state was asking. And then July 1, they started with the increases, but those were, HR handled that section of that portion for the increases. I think I want to say that I'm going to give a percentage, 3 or 4% increase in cost.
You go ahead. Do you have anything further?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, thank you. Again, final budget does seem to be in order. We did see an increase. The number is between 5 and 10% on para contributions, and then health insurance did go up. It went up both for the employee and for the employee, both sides of the ledger as well. And then remember, we added $1 so that we could do the payroll study for our exempt employees. That was about an 8% increase. Think about that. I mean, excuse me, that was just under 5% increase. It recognized about $55,000 in overall. So we have all the employees back on the payroll study, but those numbers we were pretty solid with in the interim budget. So you're going to see some adjustments in the next budgets for those line items now that we have our exact costs and those things. But we budgeted for the employee side of the house, I think, pretty good in the interim budget.
Okay.
Overall, what we're looking for to develop really the final budget is a look at ending cash. As I presented, as you and I spoke about the ending cash, if you look at the interim budget, we projected about 1.8 million in cash in the bank. We ended in the general fund, we ended with about 2.1. So we were able to go back and adjust some line items back up for some expenses that we want to add in and take care of some items. We have a fire marshal requirement to go through all of our buildings and update the safety protocols. We're under a kind of a guidance with that. So we put in the money to be able to contract that out. We were able to put that back in. Again, supportive of finance. We did find some line items that we had to make some adjustments. Again, one of the challenges we've had this year, we're paying a lot of grants. So we have a lot of money going out and it's coming back in reimbursements. So definitely we need to, there's a moment in time when you can take a look at an account and it's going to end positive or negative. And so some of those ended negative just on timing, right? Where we're waiting for $800,000 in a reimbursement to come back. So we have to go back and look and make sure that we have all the expenses coming out right project line items. But general fund and business accounts, all of our enterprise funds, well done, solid, all have good ending cash. We meet all the requirements, and we for sure have the 1/12 requirement in the general fund.
Okay.
And then if you look at the budget provided, the yellow highlights are the indicators of where the changes were in departments. Those are the yellow highlights reflect on this report. And the budget worksheets, account summary. So really, there wasn't that really significant changes, just the ones that needed to be addressed for the projects coming in.
So it looks like every department's pretty much standing pretty good on its own.
Mayor Pro Tem, again, just to go back in time, if you go look at the fourth quarter closeout, if you take the time to go look at the end of each department, you know, those departments all ended positive. You have to clean up the line items so there's no negatives. But if you go look, we definitely do not spend all the money that we budgeted. I didn't run an independent report on to see what the average is, but most of them have $30,000 or $40,000. So, right, we're not paying all the health insurance fees. If you have moments when you don't have all the employees, right, we don't have a full complement of employees all taking all the benefits, and we budget for all of it just in case. So you have those, you know, again, the line items that end up being negative are going to office supplies, computers, you know, those items that are day to day that you really just don't know, you know, what you're going to need to go through. But if you go look at that fourth quarter, you'll see almost every department ended definitely not spending all the budget. And then as we look at revenues going forward, we projected, you know, we used last year's gross receipt tax number, trended up a little bit. It is trending up, but the last reports we have really don't show the current construction projects and LUBs, right? They report 3 months back. So when you get July's gross receipt tax, you're really picking up May's gross receipt tax. So you kind of have to trend forward. So we anticipate that in December, we should be seeing a more positive trend with gross receipt tax. But again, the budget is with a flat number based on last year. So we're not over projecting our revenues on that.
And also those lines that he mentioned that when they go in the negative in the budgets, they're internally cleaned up before we even get to where we would need a bar. If it's a larger number, that's when we request the bar, but if it's internally, we clean all that up throughout the process of the fiscal year.
Refresh my memory, are we meeting our debt service this year for our water?
Mayor Pro Tem Commission, yes. So the budget, again, at the last meeting, I asked you to authorize the process to continue at the current structure, which is
Right.
will end up being a 3.6, but we put all the debt. So we will meet our water and wastewater debt obligation this year within the current structure.
Okay.
And it's just under 500,000 this year. Next year's budget will start trending towards that 750,000 in debt service from the water side.
So we'll have to make some adjustments here before too long.
Mayor Pro Tem, that's the projections I gave you were to then take those into account and how to build a budget due to whatever the increase needs to be. It would be really built on covering debt service.
Right.
So we have that to look at for next year.
Is there any way that if we do have a really great year in GRT and we have extra money coming in, is to divert some of that money for some of that debt service, or do we have to rely on our taxpayers to do it?
Mayor Pro Tem, you know, again, the general fund uses the gross receipt tax. That's our general revenue, but
Right.
it's certainly the commission's purview to decide whether they want to take some of that and cover debt for sure. Absolutely. You know, we have an increment of gross receipt tax that's not active. You could look at doing that. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you could look at generating new revenues to cover the debt service.
I think we need to get creative down the road and try not to put it on the backs of all of our citizens. I know it's tough. The rate increases we're anticipating are pretty significant percentage wise. It may not be so much dollar wise, but it seems like a lot of the times that the poorest of our poor are the ones that get hit. For instance, if we do away with the 2,000 gallons a month of free water, that hits a portion of our population that we may not want to hit right now. And we'll have to look at some of those things.
Sure.
Also, I would like to reflect that we're for the first quarter bar, we're gonna be adding another budget based on the structural change that Mr. White had put together. And we just didn't have the time to do that for this second budget, but
Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
Just I guess to clarify on the fiscal impact we have on the actual agenda request form. Mr. Manager, would you cover back over the general ledger budget, electric department? Will you go back over that for us?
Mayor, Commissioner Glines, could you please repeat the question?
Yeah, so on the actual agenda request form itself here, we have Manager Whitehead requested general ledger budget under electric department to develop a new budget for the public works department.
Oh, sure. So again, now we have a public works department, right? And so I don't have a budget for that. So right now, what we're gonna do is we're paying, Bo and his assistant, and then any of the office supplies out of the electric department. So we need to go and recreate so that public works has its own line items, its own budget in those items. So we will need to get that created. So it's just adding a department to our current budget, right? And it won't be under the general fund, it'll come under the enterprise fund, so it'll be in that area. So we have to go through and create that. It would be looking, if you go look at your 200 account numbers, right, where you have lodger's tax separate, or you have the fire department or the police department gross receipt tax, it might fall into that category where we have a 200 line item. I would expect it to be a 500 line item, which are the enterprise GL, so it should fall into that, but we have to go and get the numbers from DFA in their system, match up with their system. Hope that answered the question.
It did. Thank you. Good. Questions? All right.
With that, I will make a motion to approve resolution number 12, 2627 asset policy. 11, sorry.
It's okay.
Am I?
We're on the final budget.
Oh, there was 2/4. Okay.
Yeah, it was
Number 11, I approval of final budget as presented.
No.
I went off.
Second. Second. Okay.
Honorable Chaz Blanks.
Aye.
Honorable Rockland.
Aye.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable April O'Neil.
Aye. Carried. Item D4, discussion action resolution number 12, 2627, approval of city inventory policy. Ms. Hoagie.
So we combined, initially we were going to put just the inventory policy. The manager and I worked together, combined the final document, which reflects the capital as well as the inventory. And this is one of the items we put in place to help with the finding that we had actually. So this, based on what we pulled together, we feel this document would help the staff have a better understanding of the process of what needs to go in for capital and what gets to go in just general inventory. The top two sections reflect capital items that are 5,000. Third section reflects the inventory process or the items 5,000 and under, which they term it as walkaway items, but so that you keep track of them so that you know what you have in stock. And it's basically a fundamental aspect of just keeping track of what your department has in their.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, in front of you, you have a document that comprises 3 different aspects of us managing our assets. The number 1 structure is that we must maintain and take care of all the assets that are 5,000 and above. We do have a finance policy, but this process goes a little further to clean that up. Also accommodates our requirement for the depreciation schedule. If you remember the audit from this year, one of the audit findings was that we did not produce a qualified asset depreciation schedule.
Right.
That process came from the previous auditor. They had done the work. We got it kind of late. The numbers that we submitted, our previous JAG did not feel were sufficient to the process. So this kind of lays that out. This kind of gives the structure for finance to understand how to build and when they need to build and prepare that asset. And then what items need to go on that schedule, and then how you depreciate them. Remember, the city works on a straight line depreciation. There's a structure for what the useful life of a product is. It's not set in stone. The manager or the finance director would then determine that. And then once those items go on, you have to build out that depreciation schedule. The second part of the policy is to recognize that not only do we need to add them on a budget for our finance and for our audit purposes, but we also need to make sure all the items are insured. So this year, we requested that every department go through their assets. They provided us an updated list. We worked with the New Mexico Municipal League, our insurance company, and now we have all the assets listed in the insurance pool. So you've got to make sure that you're covering both sides. So the second part of it is really helping finance understand and the staff understand the value of making sure that every asset we have is insured. That's part two. And then part three is the policy that Jocelyn spoke of, which is then the smaller items, anything under 5,000, right? So that 5,000 is the threshold. It identifies the items that finance needs to have tracked, right? Again, I use the reams of paper. That's the easiest one to come to mind. If you have stacks of reams of paper, and so that we make sure that we're accounting for it, because as Ms. Ogeen described, it's those items that can walk away. So what you have here is effectively an asset management policy, which accommodates three different values of asset and requirements. So we think we've got it all in order here. So Ogeen and I did work on this together, and this accommodates what we need for our auditor. The next step will be the next part of that. And then also this was requested of DFA. So when DFA looked at our audit, they gave us a set of criteria that they wanted us to facilitate. We did those. We answered to them. We are no longer under DFA's restricted review. So they've lifted that from us because we did respond. Ms. Ogeen got that response in quickly, and so we're no longer being have a condition with DFA at this point. So we recommend approval of the policy. And I'll stand for any additional questions.
In regards to the policy, who is actually responsible for the asset inventory?
So all the asset inventory management belongs into the finance. It's part of the finance officer's duties.
Okay, and how do you accomplish that?
Well, I have to say Silka's done a really great job of keeping all that in line. As the purchase orders, we've streamlined the process, but as the capital item purchase orders come in, we're now having Carlos, our CPO, is adding the document for capital items, and then it has to be approved, and when we get the payment out for the item. Silka's really good about putting all those in her spreadsheet, and then she gets the insurance for the items that we need. And then what we basically do is we send out a document to have the departments updated. If there's any removals, we would like that went to auction or then we don't those from the insurance as well. So we don't want to be covering things that don't pertain to. And then the same will go for the inventory. We created a document to track the POs, the dates, and how many items. It's like a living document, and it could be updated quarterly. So that's the process moving forward. So it's all of us, it's the city as a whole, the departments we're all
The
responsible.
department heads, do they do their own inventories and then they report to you?
Yeah, they set the form.
Okay, so if we get a new garbage truck, for instance,
Just kidding.
So it puts it on her list because the department, and then since I do the title and registration, Silk and I have been working really well with each other to make sure we have the documents. So anytime we get a new vehicle, then we'll get it and then she puts it on that one.
does it work the other way around too? When we put items on auction, for instance, how are they taken on?
The same way Silka will get the sheet.
I know one of the problems when I used to work in the past was keeping up with the day-to-day inventory, because throughout the year, sometimes people forget to say things, report things, or do things, and by the end of the year, you're way behind and you have to do a whole new inventory. Is this gonna just keep running accurately, or is it gonna be one of these things that you catch up every year at the end of the year?
Well, the process we're implementing is quarterly, and then the final be the update. It's gonna be pretty much kind of like the fourth quarter. For the quarters,
Mhm.
it's gonna go inside. So I just basically would just need people to keep that spreadsheet going and then submitting every quarter, and then I'll remind them, set it out, and that'll be the process, so it doesn't lapse again.
Thank you. Any questions?
Does this policy close audit findings or assist in closure of audit findings?
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, Mr. Commissioner Glines, this is potentially to assist in closing of a potential audit, right?
Right.
And then again, to DFA, but once they reviewed our audit, they said, hey, we need you to do some of these things. So this will actually support what DFA requested of us to do to make sure we have a policy in place.
This is an extra step,
So,
because we already cleared it, as Mr. Whitehead stated.
Right.
We're a step further, so we don't revert back to getting caught in something you don't.
I have a regular question. The insurance, when we insure our vehicles and equipment and everything, is it here replacement insured or is it here by depreciation, like a garbage truck depreciates and then worth theoretically 50,000 because of age and everything, but you can't replace it for that cost?
Yeah,
So,
the only way it can be replaced is if it's involved in an accident. That's that kind of coverage, but the depreciation just fades out, basically.
okay, so they pay whatever it is worth.
It's just to cover
Like-
incidents.
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioner Hopner, our insurance policy only pays us actual cash value of the product that we have, just like any insurance would, right? So if we had a 10-year-old fire truck or a 10-year-old trash truck that was involved in an accident and it was only worth 100, even though we paid 400, we're only going to get actual cash value. So we are self-insured,
Yeah, that's fine.
but we operate just as a traditional insurance company, right? But if the asset wasn't on the insurance list, we're going to get zero. That's the most important part. And so as we go through this process and we get a little tighter with it, right? In the policy, you'll see there are some drop dead dates that the staff has to make sure that they're then reporting to finance to double check to make sure that we can go online and see that any asset they bought in the calendar year is for sure on the inventory asset. And that can be done, that absolutely can be done one time a year, but so it would have dual checks where again, once it's bought, once the PO's in, we have developed a form that goes in so that the department head would say, this truck, it's more than 5,000 and get all the information. Once the title's in, it could all go on, but then there'll be a check at the end of the year for effectively the finance director to sit, go through the portal and double check off a list that our Tyler system would print to make sure that, again, everything was added correctly. So policy kind of gives us some checks and balances where the departments have to be driving the process and then at the end of the year, make sure. But we are on insurance with it.
Yeah, thank you.
Right, plus or minus negotiations.
We can't pay an extra premium and get a year newer?
They don't offer that.
That's the right answer.
Okay.
All right, with that, I will make a motion to approve resolution number 12, approval of city inventory.
No second.
Honorable Ingo Hopner,
All right.
Honorable Chaz Glines,
Aye.
Honorable Rob
Aye.
Hefner, Honorable Bessie.
Aye.
Carries. All right. D5, discussion action resolution number 13, 2627, approval of capital depreciation schedule. So you're popular this morning.
Thinking, but this one I can't. I have to give it all to the back. Did the backbone for this process. He went and got all the information and compiled the schedule. He is actually Mary's work, so I'm gonna defer to. Yeah, I'll defer to somebody.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission. So what you see in front of you, so one of the requirements of the audit, one of the audit findings again is we did not certify our depreciation schedule. So what you're doing here today is certifying these are what the values are we believe is our depreciation schedule. The previous last year, our auditor was an organization called JAG, Jaramillo Accounting Firm. We were not ready to prepare and present them the form in this capacity. So what I had to do, the previous auditor had developed a depreciation schedule that they built out themselves in support of the city. They had all the assets in there. And so they certified that date as of June 30th, 2024 as the certified number. So what I had to do here was go all the way back to that date, take all the assets, rebuild the schedule, match it up so that we could get them all into the right funds and get them into the right categories. So that you look into our audit, these are the way they want to categorize the different findings. So one of the challenges that we will have this year, even though we're going to certify, is the JAG audit did miss the airport depreciation last year. So it didn't have that in the enterprise fund. So our depreciation schedule was a little higher than what we reported last year. So our new auditor is going to have to tell me how to adjust that. But moving forward, the numbers you see in front of you represent the numbers of the assets that we have. The assets are presented in two different categories, our general governmental activities and then our business activities. Business activities are the joint utility, electric fund, water, wastewater, solid waste, golf course, airport, and cemetery fund. And then our general, sorry, my computer's a little bit slow. And then our general governmental activities would be all the other items that we have. You can see that on the third screen that you see there. And then once you have those categories, you need to break them down into, was the asset for general purposes? Was it for public safety? Was it for public works, public health, or cultural and recreation? That's the piece that we missed last year. We didn't break them down into that subset category. And then the last piece is you also have to report what construction under construction and 18.280 million under construction. And all those tied those to every project we have. So going forward, in the 2024, they had a number for construction in process, but they didn't identify the projects. So I was able to go back, find the projects. We're fortunate all those projects are still technically kind of under construction. So like in Fote Street was kind of under construction a year and a half ago, it'll come off, and those kind of items. So what you have in front of you is our depreciation capital list that we'd like to ask that you approve for certification so that we are ready to start the audit process. Questions?
Based on our new auditor review, and some of the technicalities that were submitted by JAG, they want to work with us to get that finding reduced. So once all these items are approved and accepted, then we'll move forward with Beasley, and they're gonna work with us to try to get those findings to not be as critical as they were.
Okay. All right, I'll open it up to any questions.
It just sounds like it was good that we're jumping on, taking the initiative to tackle all those audit findings and make sure that we don't have those problems again in the future. So good job.
Thank you. And for the record, it was before Gary and I were here. Just kidding. But we do want to keep on progressing, not just with this and as a whole.
With that, I will make a motion to approve resolution number 13/26/27, approval of the capital depreciation schedule.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Doris?
Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hoffman.
Aye.
Honorable Charles Glines.
Aye.
Honorable Ron Fessler.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, looks like we got through our budget thing. Any final closing words? You happy with the process? You ready for the new year?
Mayor Pro Tem, I think, budget wise, I'm very happy. I think one of the goals that we had and hopefully we hit is that we won't have as many small bars. Last year we did a lot of little bars because both Ms. Holguin and I missed putting enough in a line item for all the copier payments or the, a little nuance of something that we just didn't know existed. I feel like we have a better handle on that. So hopefully we'll dial that in. I think definitely, kind of coming through this process, we have some work to do. I'll identify that with Ms. Holguin. We'll work through that over the next 6 months, right? It's not going to be a overnight thing. We need to kind of take it in a bite. to make sure that the budget really continues to get better and better and more balanced, if you will. We just have a lot of, projects and
Yeah.
there's just a lot of money that comes in and goes, and we need to just kind of clean that up. But I think we've had good conversations over the last 10 days on items, so we'll just continue to get better at it.
How smooth was the year-end closeout and the year-end opening? We're in it to a month now, but are we functioning fully right now? Are we paying bills? Are we doing what we're supposed to be doing?
Mayor Pro Tem, I'm going to take this one. It wasn't as smooth as we had hoped. We definitely have some bobbles. Ms. O'Bean had identified a process that should have had things roll smooth. It didn't, right? You're trying something that didn't quite work exactly. So, but they're digging in. We're getting caught up. I think we had a lot done, this week. It's getting a little bit better. So again, it's a learning process and it'll get better. But yeah. And then, just closing out the fourth quarter, it's just a couple of people, right? So it's just like anything. It just takes time and it's a lot of numbers. And
Right.
So I wouldn't say it was smooth, but I wouldn't say it wasn't smooth. If that's fair.
We're making progress.
So making good progress.
It's anything in the tighter system that stops them on stage right, so I get to get that confidence so that they.
All right, thank you. All right, well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for all your hard work in getting us to this level and to this stage. I'm hoping this new year is going to present us with less challenges. It looks like it may, and we've got a new audit firm coming on board. We know what we need to get ahead of, and so we should be able to do that. So I have confidence in that you guys will be able to get that done. And again, thank you for all your hard work. Any closing comments?